Welcome back to Silicon Heartland Sessions, where we highlight the voices driving innovation across the Midwest and beyond. Today's episode explores what it really means to lead through pressure. Warner Moore shares lessons from his own journey, from blameless postmortems to emotional regulation, and how he's built cultures rooted in trust, empathy, and accountability. Big thanks to our sponsors for supporting this show. Rackspace Technology, your trusted multi-cloud solutions partner. Varonis, protecting enterprise data where it lives, on-prem and in the cloud. Trace3, helping organizations innovate through advanced IT strategy and execution. And Sigma Computing, enabling business users to explore live data without code. Let's get into it.
Resilience is super important. I've read some, probably Harvard Business Review, recent articles exploring resilience, right?
Yeah.
It's an attribute that's sought out in modern organizations. And certainly resilience has helped me over the years. It's how things affect me. I'm not super emotional by default, so things that it's easy for me to engage with things more neutrally and consider data facts, and not just react in the moment. But admittedly, some earlier executive coaching helped me with that a lot. I was in a challenging leadership culture at the time, and folks tended to treat each other poorly, yelling at them. So being in environments like that, it's even though talking about it now, it sounds ridiculous. It's normalized when you live it every day. And one of the exercises the coaches taught was being aware of your emotions and not responding in emotion.
Which is so hard. I mean, that is a skill that takes practice, you know?
Oh, it does. And it sounds so simple, but these simple skills that take practice are so impactful. So if I'm angry, I acknowledge it and pause. I'm sure as heck not going to respond to a team member in the moment and react based on the emotion. I tell you what, when I come back to it hours or maybe hours later, or maybe the next day, my reaction and response is much higher quality than it would be otherwise.
I hear you, man.
And we all get stressed and worn down,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm no different. But I think we can consider how we're engaging as a whole, and not even that. Are there opportunities to improve? And working on it. We all have opportunities, lifelong learning opportunities.
This is very, very true. So thinking about, all of these kinds, what you bring to the table personally, with your experience and so forth. Obviously, you run multiple companies, and I would argue that the key success to any company is its people. It really comes down to culture. If we've talked about Simon Sinek before, and one of the things he says is that so goes the culture, so goes the company. Likewise, so go the leaders, so go the culture. So leadership is critically important as well. So when you in your day to day, when you're managing these businesses and you're engaging in the community and so forth, what leadership skills do you believe make the most impact, especially in our industry?
Well, in tech, I think we have opportunities to consider the people part and prioritize it higher, right? Tech skills are certainly important, but people skills, I'd say, are equally, if not more important, depending on the work we're doing. One of our company values at Gamma Force is we put people first, and we live that. Our clients, our team members, and make decisions that create value for all people in the ecosystem. If we're trending to low profitability over some months, it's easier to cut the team than it is to accept low profitability for a few months. personally, I'd favor the latter. So every decision and thing I do, I consider all parties in the ecosystem, and I try and create situations where everyone wins. But coming back to your core point, the skills that sound simple and easy are often the opportunities that we all have to grow, especially in tech. Listening, how we communicate, empathizing, communicating to the audience, and uh, those things will help us be more impactful in all the things we do.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, very well said. Thinking about when you do have to go through hard times, and you have to make tough decisions, or maybe you've had the team has had a misstep and there was a failure, and God forbid there was like a security breach or something like that. Obviously, different failures have different outcomes and so forth. But when it comes to handling failure, how both personally and when leading your teams, how do you approach those situations?
Hmm. A lot of my career experience tied to technology operations. So, if we think about production outages or disaster recovery or security incident response, those triage activities are high stress.
Very
And
true.
admittedly, I developed a lot of skills through working through those scenarios over the years. Pardon me, would you ground me in the question again? I don't want to go off on a tangent.
Yeah, well, I was just kind of going up, get as we were talking about resilience and the importance of relationships and leadership and so forth. Those are, to me, the skills that you've talked about around empathy and listening and communicating and so forth. Part of the reason, or I think the biggest reason, well, maybe not the biggest reason, but a big reason
Oh,
why
failure.
those skills are so important is, yeah, when you hit an event where you've got to get through a tough time, or you experience a failure, how do you navigate those waters?
So we have those situations, and really all ground in, and thank you,
You're welcome.
ground in uh, not blaming, right? It's a challenging situation. Oh, we got here one way or another. How do we get through it in the best way, best possible outcome to all stakeholders in a way that creates the least damage in the process?
Right.
And that's really difficult in the moment. And it doesn't always go well. And those situations are commonly caused by mistakes. And we're all humans. We all make mistakes. I don't care who you are. So I really, thinking about the team and people part, have learned to ground in blameless postmortems over the years.
Hmm.
Etsy was one of the first organizations to popularize it. And there are a lot of good examples of different ways to conduct them. It's different depending on what the organization is
Mm-hmm.
uh, and how they're operating. But it comes down to having a retrospective, exploring the situation, taking lessons learned, not placing blame on any individual, and doing that well helps our organizations become more resilient
Yeah.
and creates a culture of trust where everyone is going to be more effective in everything they do.
Very, very well said. Yeah, I would agree with you. When I think about a high performing culture or high performing organization, it's precisely that. It's cultures that are built on a foundation of safety and trust. Because only then, and to your point, that the thing that's going to test you as a leader in driving that culture is when things go haywire and mistakes are made. Are we going to become a better company on the other side of this? And are we going to retain our culture? Are we going to protect that culture? Or will it be an opportunity for us to go the other way? Because, to your point, it's, as a leader, it takes a hell of a long time to build trust and safety. But man, you can damage it like that.
And good luck getting it back. It
Yeah.
doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah. Very, very well said. So thinking on the other side of the equation, how do you, when you're thinking about your strategy, your business strategy, and you've got this big audacious goal, or just you're laying out a vision, how do you inspire and align your team towards that common vision or goal? Because that's the other side of having a strong culture. It's not only being able to weather the storms and the challenges and so forth, but it's also being able to accelerate and being able to achieve the goals that you set out for your organization. So when you set out to accomplish some business goal, and you set out that vision, how do you inspire and align your team towards that?
Yeah, there are a lot of different methods depending on the level of organization and the function. In this case, I'll keep it pretty high level. And while talking about it, is the vision real? Is it what we're doing, what we're working toward? And then values. Are we making decisions based on it? Are we rewarding people based on it? Are we, frankly, punishing people based on it? If
Mm-hmm.
one of our values is we put people first, and we have leaders in the organization that are being mean to their teams and colleagues, and we let them stick around, that is us not living our values. So maybe they're not a good fit for our organization.
Yeah.
And furthermore, the entire team has to be aligned to it, the leadership team in particular, because as decisions are made, they need to be congruent.
Right.
And if people are operating differently, especially in the leadership and management teams, it's just going to be another sign on the wall that people point and laugh at. Integrity. Ha ha.
Right.
Everyone has
Yeah.
integrity, right? What does
Yeah.
that mean?
Exactly. Yeah. If you talk the talk, but then you don't walk the walk, and you don't actually demonstrate those values through your actions, then yeah, your actions are absolutely going to speak louder than words. And that is what's going to absolutely drive your culture, or, I would say in this case, it's fractures in your culture. Thanks for tuning in to Silicon Heartland Sessions. If this episode helped you reflect on leadership in your own journey, be sure to subscribe, share, and leave a review. And a final shout out to our sponsors, Rackspace Technology, Varonis, Trace3, and Sigma Computing, for their support of our growing tech community.